Tonight's forecast includes more rain for this area, which has some residents on edge, fearing that another deluge can cause even more problems for this community. Monday will mark the third time in less than a year maintenance work will be done on the helipad. While the contractor Ellis Dawn is said to be footing the bill for the repairs, questions now linger around who will pay for the temporary base. Hospital sources say those discussions are ongoing. No cost estimate has been released. Critics argue without cooperation between the province and the feds, development of the Ring of Fire will never happen. Meanwhile, business leaders say they're fearful that Cliffs Natural Resources may simply be the first of many to come who will pull out of this multi-billion-dollar mineral deposit. Well, Michelle, photojournalist Shelley Mayer and myself left this morning, and we've seen power outages from Point O'Barrel south here into the heart of cottage country. I want to draw your attention behind me here. You see a tree has fallen on one of the power lines here in this community, the community of Rosso. It's one of many trees down as hundreds of hydro crews work frantically to restore power to cottage country. From Point O'Barrel to Rosso, thousands of people in central Ontario are in the dark tonight. Some businesses are running off of backup generators like the Home Hardware in Point O'Barrel.
We have a generator which partially lights the place, but we've had trouble with the generator and our computers. They don't work too well together, so it has been a problem.
But for many others, business came to a standstill when the power went out this morning. In Rosso, the local bakery is one of the few businesses open for miles around.
Pretty steady, but a lot of people doesn't realize that we do have hydro.
For people with generators, the lights remain on, but even then, gas and propane is beginning to run out.
I'm getting low on gas now in my generator, and my gas can's empty.
It's been keeping those filling generators pretty busy.
I've done about 25 calls already. And
the OPP say they were busy for much of the morning dealing with downed trees and power lines.
Police have had to respond, help out with fire emergency services to be able to reroute vehicles.
For most residents in Parry Sound, the power returned by mid-morning, but crews have been hard at work all day restoring infrastructure, including hydro poles and lines that went down at the height of the storm. Areas outside of Parry Sound weren't so lucky. Hydro One says it has mobilized every single crew and is now calling in crews from other utilities in the province. Well, Michelle, the insiders are certainly saying politics and mining go hand in hand, and that is certainly the case with the Ring of Fire. With the mining world gathered in Toronto, pressure is building on the government of Ontario to start making decisions related to the Ring of Fire, from agreements with First Nations to legal challenges.
There are some legal barriers along the mapping and some consultation obligations that is the provinces to address and deal with, and that kind of uncertainty has made it difficult for the private sector to make good decisions about timelines and how this project will roll out.
The province says progress is being made.
It's a project that I am honestly pleased with the process moving forward. Very, very eager to see the federal government join us as true partners. That is crucial.
But the federal government has said all along it's ready to partner once the province puts its ducks in order.
Neither Cliffs, Norond, and our First Nations communities have said a bad word edgewise about the federal government. That's a matter of record.
And the opposition at Queen's Park agrees the problem is with the province.
Well, I'm disappointed, obviously, because, we saw Noront here today. They're ready to go. They've got a quick win that the province can have, the people of Ontario can have.
Companies with stakes in the Ring of Fire say they're essentially waiting for the provincial government to make decisions related to infrastructure and environmental assessments.
Right now really is us getting that drilling permit so we can go in and really explore this property, because we're really excited about what we can find and what is potentially there.
Other players say they're simply pushing ahead, assuming all the roadblocks will eventually come down.
We're not waiting for the province. There's a process underway now, and I think it's going to happen fast.
And it's clear here at PDAC that the mining industry wants to get involved in the Ring of Fire. Now it's up to the province to make some key decisions. Michelle.
CTV's Kari Vierimaa is in Elliott Lake.
When crews pulled the plug on rescue efforts at the Algo Center last year, Dalton McGinty said he, like many, thought that was it.
To do nothing would be for death to ensue. So to me, that we had to try to do something.
In emergencies, there's often a divide between political leaders and the operations. In this case, though, Dalton McGuinty said he had to step in to make sure crews were doing everything they could to get to the victims in the rubble.
I was told that there could be someone in there who was still alive. Okay. So I never forgot that.
Ultimately, it was decided after the Premier's intervention to resume rescue efforts by partially demolishing the mall. In the end, crews found the bodies of 2 victims, Lucy Alwyn and Dolores Parazzolo. But despite the Premier's insistence there was no plan B, local officials said otherwise, calling the suspension of rescue efforts, quote, temporary.
I think what the Premier highlighted there is exactly why we asked for the inquiry to be done, is there was definitely a breakdown in communication as to who was making decisions on the ground.
I don't consider this an exercise in assigning blame. I consider it an important opportunity to review exactly what happened.
For local residents, this marks the end of a tragic chapter in Elliott Lake's history. The woman known as the knitting lady who sat in the inquiry every day thanked the commission for coming to Elliott Lake.
They have worked their butts off, and they've been away from their family the whole time too, which makes it extra hard.
The inquiry will now recess until November 12th. That's when lawyers will issue their own final submissions in the inquiry. Then it'll be up to Justice Paul Belanger to announce a date for when the findings will be unveiled. Kari Vierimaa, CTV News, Elliott Lake, Ontario. Despite the reprieve in the forecast, the Big East River behind me is still expected to breach its banks sometime in the next 12 to 24 hours, causing some flooding to low-lying areas in Huntsville. But the mayor says it could have been a lot worse. Kari Vierimaa, CTV News, Huntsville. But nothing compares to just how cold it is here in northeastern Ontario. This morning in Sudbury, it felt like -48, while in Timmins, the temperature was closer to -52 with the wind chill. 2014 is an election year, and there are rumblings that at least one current council member, maybe more, will challenge Marianne Matichuk. That means the feuding at City Hall is only likely to intensify as we head towards an October vote. Kari Vierimaa, CTV News, Sudbury.